Awesome, John. That's fantastic. As we said, we have a guest with us, Roland Webb, and Roland has been with Unifii for a little bit of time, and it sounds like he's having a little bit of fun. I know that Roland was communicating with John. We thought we'd invite Roland to our call just to share a little bit of his experience with Unifii, a little bit of your background, Roland, as well. Maybe if you could share with people so that people can get a gist of what we have here and how you're feeling about what we have here. So are you available to talk, Roland?
Yes, can you hear me right now?
I can hear you perfectly well. Welcome to the call.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on. My name is Roland Webb. I live up in Virginia. I'm outside of Washington, D.C. in the U.S. And I retired like 3 years ago. And I ran across Unifii, and some of the things that they taught me were things that I never really knew. I really fancy myself somebody that's been kind of a little bit financially savvy. But a lot of the things that Ron and Unifii taught me about fees and all the other things and taking ownership of your retirement fund were something that I really wasn't doing. So I went back and started taking a look at some things. And we started off with the Bitcoin. And I wasn't really listening. I was listening, but I wasn't really hearing what they were telling us about the universal signal. So I was taking my Bitcoin and buying altcoins and all the other stuff instead of buying and selling like they were recommending. And then at the end of September through December, I saw I could have doubled my Bitcoin if I'd have paid attention. And the light bulb came on for me. So when the Unifii Forex came around, I said, well, I better just pay attention to what it is they teach me, get into the Telegram group, and just start playing around with it. I knew a little bit about Forex. I've never really invested in myself. Most of the people I knew that had invested in it, I had heard bad stories about it. So I decided to get a demo account and start playing around with it. Everything that I ever learned about Forex and investing, I learned through the Telegram group and some of the information that Troy was putting out. And I started using it for probably about 6 weeks. And, it takes some time for you to become somewhat emotionally detached from the results, either if you use the demo account. And so I was looking at it, and I said, well, let me go back and look at my 401k and my so-called balanced portfolio. And I looked in there and saw one of the funds that I had in there had money in it, but it hadn't gained a dime in 3 years. And I'm saying, okay, well, what is this doing for me? And I decided to go back and learn a little bit more about the Forex. And I became comfortable. It was rocky. It was a little rocky in December and January. And so February things started to improve. And so I decided to jump in with both feet and get myself a premium account with Orlando. And I jumped in like the last week of February, and boom, what happened? 3 stop losses in a row. And there it was. But that I was kind of prepared for that, because I was, if you lived through January and February, that wasn't a big shocker to me. But then 2 or 3 days later, boom, one triggered, and it goes all the way to TP3, and all of a sudden I'm even. And so I really felt good about it, and I knew that over the long term, I know that I would do better than 1% or 0% over 3 years. And so I purchased some more Bitcoin. I tried to go a little bit bigger into the Forex, because I really wanted to learn it and understand it and share it with my friends. But I most importantly wanted to share it with my kids. I just told myself, if I was in my 30s and I knew this and I had my arms around this, where would I be right now? And so my son's there, he's stock trader. They do a little bit of options trading. So this kind of stuff won't scare them. And I want to introduce it to them and have them introduce it to their friends, because this thing could be magical for them over the long haul.
And so when you opened up your account, how's that worked out for you?
Oh, it's been going great. Right now I'm up for the month of March. I'm up about 22%. And right now there's a trade that's triggered that it looks like, I think the last time I looked, it was headed towards TP3. So things are looking good for the month of March. And one of the other things I looked at, I said, okay, well, gee whiz, if I just take half, looking at the amount of money that I invested, if I just take half of one TP3 win, that's enough to pay all my fees in Unifii for the whole year. And so it kind of takes away a lot of the other negatives that some of the other people that you might want to introduce this thing to and say, hey, this is kind of how I looked at it. And oh, by the way, you're in control of your money. So if there's anything that's happening that makes you feel uncomfortable, just don't take the trades. Just suspend it, watch a little bit until you feel more comfortable with it. And I'm trying to take away all of the obstacles because I don't see anything negative. And one of the things that I'm thankful for Unifii for is that it showed me that even in retirement, you can play offense and still protect and grow your assets. And all the financial planners and everybody else, like Ron tells you are giving you a different story. They're trying to brainwash you into thinking that as long as you're not losing money, you're winning, even though you may not be making it. And so I'm going to continue to learn. I'm all in on the 100K roadmap. I'm just saying once I execute that and stick that into this Forex, I'm done. I mean, I'm secure. And so that's kind of where I'm looking at it.
That's awesome. I mean, you know what? Your testimony is why we built this company. Obviously, we have a deeper desire to give to people around the world who can't help themselves. But ultimately, it was about empowering people to be able to take advantage of really what's available to them if only someone would show them. And so, and I'll tell you what, when you talked about your 30-year-old kids, that rings in my heart because you've probably heard me guys talk all the time saying my kids are set because they're in their early 20s. They've got 20 years of time that they can build and build and build long-term. And obviously they hear their dad talking all the time about this stuff. So imagine what their life is going to be and imagine what your children are going to be like. And for all of you listening in, boy, Roland, I couldn't have said it any better. I'm very grateful for you being part of the company. And sometimes as an owner and all of us on the call here today, as you know, executives of Unifii, we sometimes wonder if anybody's hearing what we're saying, you know? It sounds like you're hearing a few things of what we're saying, Roland.
Yeah, I'm a little hard-headed, but I'm listening now.
I'm amazing. Well, in 1 month, you were able to do something that you weren't able to do in 3 years with one small part of your portfolio. And so you said a couple of things that kind of made me laugh inside. Folks, you know, we're gonna continue to help each and every person out there, even with your retirement plans, your 401ks, and things of that nature. We will be bringing forward some stuff. We didn't want to just throw everything in, and because then it gets all mixed up. You are all the ambassadors of this company. We're only in our 10th month, not even 9th month. And, you know, as we continue to educate you and we give all of you folks the opportunity to learn this stuff, you're ultimately going to be the ambassadors of the company, the leaders of the company that are going to be able to share your experiences and to be able to go out there and help those out there because you will have learned about cryptocurrency, you will have learned about Forex, and you will learn about what you can do in the stock markets that will allow you to not fall prey to 0% returns over 3 years, but to be able to take advantage, especially in the last 3 years where the stock market has actually been growing. It's flabbergasting to even see that. So, you know, thank you, Roland. Really, thank you so much for being on our call and sharing your story with all our subscribers, because at the end of the day, these are the stories that help people build their trust and their faith that will ultimately allow them to do exactly what you did and to take control of your future. Thank you, man.
You know what's really, thank you very much, Roland. You know what's criminal about that too, Ron, is while Roland wasn't making money for a prolonged period of time, someone definitely was.
Yes. Yeah. Your advisor was making 2%. All the fund managers that are in the background that nobody knows about, they're pulling from there as well. That's the whole thing about having a managed account as opposed to a self-directed account. There's so much happening in the background that nobody knows about, and money is flying around all over the place. And then people wonder why my account is not growing, and that's because people are dipping their fingers. And some of them are putting their hands in there. Some people are putting their fingers in there, and everybody's grabbing a penny here, 5 cents there, a buck here. And then, but anyhow, I don't want to get too deep in that. We'll save that for as we continue to grow as a company. Our goal is to provide the truth and allow the truth to be good enough for people as well. You know, this morning we had also another presentation more geared towards the EU, and we had Bibiana Alexander on there, and you know, single mom. and she had no experience whatsoever with trading, almost quit. But then all of a sudden, she got together with her upline, the person that introduced her to Unifii. They sat down and said, hey, let's just learn. She connected with Troy, learned how to download the information. She found that to be fairly simple. She has a job, and this is her actual demo account from February the 14th until March the 12th. And you can see that it's a 24% increase. You can see that there was a drawdown of 14.74%, but you can see how $1,000 demo account grew to $1,281. She then turned around and actually opened up her account, gained the faith, understood what was going on, and I believe she said she was up like 4.6% or something of that nature over just since like the 14th of March. So she's obviously very excited. And the point of that story is the reality is anybody can do this. It doesn't matter where you are in life, whether you're 20 and you're listening in, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50, you're 60, you're 70. You can learn this information. You can increase your financial IQ. You can tap into some of the stuff that no one's going to tell you about, and then be able to make better decisions long term. And you know what? It was a great story to hear from her. You can see that big smile on her face, knowing that she's actually got her hands on something that can help her navigate through some difficult times. And she had been with other companies that, as per John was speaking about maybe 15 minutes ago, were losing her money. And that's one of the reasons she felt apprehensive, because she thought, oh, here we go again. Because as you can see right here, what happened right there? Oh my gosh, here we go again. These guys don't know what they're talking about. Then all of a sudden, emotionally, she started to go, oh, wait a second, maybe they do know what they're talking about. Oh, I knew it was kind of lucky. Oh, wow. There's my luck. I mean, I must have a cloud over my head. I've lost everything I gained again. This thing sucks. And then boom, it goes up again. These are the conversations that we have with ourselves when we don't have faith in a system. And I'm sure, Roland, you went through that. I've gone through it. I don't think there's a trader on the planet Earth that doesn't go through this. But the reality is, having a system in place and having a community of people that are also doing this with you and going through this with you can really help you deal with a lot of the emotions. We believe that the hardest part of trading is actually not the trading. It's the psychological warfare that goes on. And if you can overcome that, and give yourself a chance with the right information, that's when you're going to have an opportunity to retire younger and to retire wealthier, to really, really build that want to, choose to, love it. It's my idea kind of a life. This is